We are lucky to have this guest on, I would say once a year. It feels like it was just yesterday, but I think it was over a year ago. She has now been with Us Weekly, one of my favorite periodicals and now digital magazines that has been part of my life since I was a kid, it feels like. She's been there for 8 years. This Wednesday is very important. You're going to want to rush out and get the print edition. Us Weekly has their Reality Stars of the Year issue out, and this is going to be a collector's item for me, so I know it is for you. She's going to talk all things pop culture because a lot has happened in this last week. We have the one and only Sarah Hearon back with us. Sarah, welcome back.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I mean, this is like easy for me because this is a conversation that I'm like, oh, this is like talking with friends about, which is what it should be, is this is what we got into it for, is just talking about this stuff that we love. Do you hate it now, though, because it really is your job for these past 8 years?
Oh, that's so funny. Some days I do. No. I always joke The Bachelor is like very much my job. The rest I've been able to keep like Bravo for the most part. I can still have fun with because I do interviews for Bravo, but I'm not like, there's plenty of other people on staff. Like we spread the love there. And then the rest of it really just depends on the time of day. Like, when news breaks at 1 p.m. on a Saturday when you're at a bar, it's not ideal.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you, because over the weekend, we had the news of Diane Keaton's passing. And I always think about that, obviously for me, I was processing it and I hopped on a Patreon and talked about it. But for you, I noticed all the periodicals, all of a sudden I was just getting alerts from every like Us Weekly, TMZ, everything. So are you in a rush then to have to put something together? Are you out living your life and all of a sudden everything stops?
A little bit. And I will just say, I'll preface it first by saying, even when I'm on PTO or when it's the weekend, when something happens, my instinct is to check my email, not because I would be quote unquote like in trouble if I didn't. It's because I want to know, right? So at the end of the day, like as much as I can joke, yes, it's work, I do still want to know. And I think that's when I'll know if I've hit my limit of the news cycle running my life, because it doesn't matter where I am. I still am checking Slack. I'm checking my email because I want the tea. I want to know what our reporters are hearing. I want to know if this is true, right? So there's that part of it. But yes, like this past Saturday, it becomes we have a weekend team and are they supported? How many people did they need? This was a big one. This was something we're not exactly prepared for. Obviously, she was a little older, but like it wasn't like Diane Keaton was openly sick or talking about any sort of illness. When celebrities are open about a cancer diagnosis or something, you prepare for those things. But no, this was definitely a surprise, and it is sad. My instinct first goes to work, and then usually at the way end of it, I'm like, oh my God, by the way, like I loved that movie. And
you had so many good memories with this person, and that was the kind of thing I kept going back to, is like, God, it's so many amazing film roles and so many amazing things, so much joy that she had given me personally without even knowing it. But I was thinking about just when I was getting all of these alerts from every one of these things I subscribe to, how has it changed in the 8 years since you have been working in this industry? Because, things have really moved from this, not just you, but like periodicals where you'd go to the newsstand or you'd subscribe to a magazine, and now everything's digital and online, and you're also competing with the TikTok crowd, which can get information out so quick. How hard does that make your job, and how has it changed your job?
Oh my God, it's so hard. I mean, even you think about like the TikToks or whoever, and it's like power to them, by the way. Like I'm not, no shame, but like they also say things without verifying things on a whim. And that makes it really hard because all of a sudden
when people go, established media is out the window, I'm like, well, let's not, no. Established media is still, people don't realize that when you go on TikTok, you don't have to play by any rules. Right. And that's why you get so many incorrect, not factual items that get spread around easily.
It's pretty wild. Even like back in like with the Twitter and stuff, like the way things, especially since like the verification process has kind of gone out the window, like things are just said as a fact online and not and sometimes I have to work backwards and I'm like, where are we getting this? Why are we saying this? Who is saying it? And sometimes I cannot find the original source. And that's terrifying, not only as a journalist, but as a person, where I'm like, we're all believing this, like whatever it is. It might be something as simple as a quote from an episode of something that's since been wiped. and isn't like a big deal. But I'm like, I can't find the original source of this. Like, why do I believe you? Kind of thing. But in a sense like this, I mean, it's crazy because you also think, like we were joking, today's a holiday. There are people, their offices closed today. And back in the day, that would have meant last Friday would have been a crazy news dump because celebrities were trying to bury news to not have it be printed on Mondays. That doesn't happen anymore because now some celebrities would still try to drop big like divorce news on a Friday night, but it's still going to get the coverage. Like there's no way around it anymore.
Yeah.
You see people sneak things into certain cycles of news cycles for sure. I feel like Nina Dobrev and Shaun White were the most recent. I can't remember what was happening. It was like in the middle of Charlie Kirk and like on 9/11. Like, oh yeah, by the way, we broke up. I'm like, okay, are we? So you don't want anyone talking about this?
Yeah, that was that. You hid that well, actually. And by the way, I kind of had forgotten about it until you just spoke about it, and then I was thinking, well, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. I think that news came out on a Monday or Tuesday. Or
I think it was a Tuesday. I was off that day. I was away that week, and I was like, wow, like it's been a minute that I was off like for a full week when like a big story happened.
You just get to enjoy the celebrity news coming at you. Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm on my email. I'm like, what do we know? What's going on? Like, I can't help it. But I think that was a Tuesday. And I always say, it really does affect your day. And that's the business that we got into. But it nowadays, I mean, there's no off time, we have 24-hour coverage at Us Weekly, and we are smaller staff than a lot of our competitors on a lot of things. So you have to keep up, and you also have to keep some sort of integrity, and you're playing a game. And I've seen, other outlets kind of picking up other source quotes and doing things they never used to do anymore. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So like the rules change, the unwritten rules of, how many reports until we feel comfortable, or like what kind of outreach are we doing? And it's kind of probably not exciting for other people, but you can see the landscape changing.
No, I mean, it's exciting to me because I've just consumed so much of it over my life, and I've noticed how much it's changed. And I was talking, I think I was on a podcast last week where sometimes, maybe it was comments by celebs, where I was like, sometimes I've covered this thing now every day that I'm like, am I ruining pop culture? Or like, we are so focused and we are so like inundated with it now, where you don't let anything breathe. You don't have that excitement of discovery because you are actually, in the moment discovering it with everybody else. Like there, you know what I'm saying? It's just very different in this last couple of years. I've noticed like the voraciousness of it, where it's like amped up.
People are quick, especially, when it's something like a death, like it at least brings out usually kinder things in people of a Diane Keaton. It's just like a nice moment of the internet coming together, sharing like scenes from First Wives Club. But when it's any sort of breakup or scandal, I mean, the way people pick sides without knowing anything is crazy.
Oh,
I mean, it comes back to, it's crazy.
Even the Diane Keaton one, there was still like 1% of negativity. Like I would still get, well, you got to remember this and you got to remember this. And I was like, could we remember that next week? Could we just honor the lady and the work right now? And then we can get to the outrage next week, which is, it's a rage economy in a sense. Now, you just did an interview with our first Golden Bachelor, Mr. Gary right here. By the way, I'm having him on next week. How was this? Because this book is filled.
Have you read the book yet?
It's juicy.
I have read every Bachelor memoir that's been written in the last 10 years.
That's your beat.
That's my beat. And it was, I remember reading like Andy Dorfman's book like before I worked here because I like loved The Bachelor. And then every book that has come since I have read, and read other ones, like Sean Lowe and Courtney Robertson like before, and then everyone since. So oftentimes I'm reading them and I'm like, this is fine, but like, where is my hook? And not since Hannah Brown revealed that she slept with Pilot Pete during his season airing have I been so shocked. And did I expect that from 74-year-old Gary Turner? I did not. And I told him that. I said, Gary, what are we doing? Like, there's a lot in here. And he had a mission. He'll tell you, he felt as though he was painted a certain way in this divorce, and he thought, I'm going to put pen to paper and I'm going to spill my tea and I'm going to say it. And I was surprised. I knew that their divorce was, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see 3 months.
And by the way, you guys, if you haven't watched The Golden Bachelor, he married Teresa from The Golden Bachelor, and then they divorced, not a long time after, and they televised their wedding. It wasn't just the show, they televised their wedding, but there was a lot of stuff that came out about Gary in the process, a lot of things. So you were just kind of surprised by the honesty of Gary.
And the whole book, I mean, if people like The Bachelor, they should read it, honestly.
Yeah.
I like a celebrity memoir, and I do like it, as much as I love to pull out all the fun stuff. I do think, it's always good to read it yourself. If there's ever source material, you should go to it yourself, not just read the recaps. But I do think that it's called The Golden Years, and it really only does talk about, for the most part, like the show. It's very show heavy. And I kind of, even though that's the title, I was more expecting like an overall look and maybe a few chapters on The Bachelor, but it's pretty much the whole thing. And he, doesn't mince words about how he was feeling at the time. And, he does have a little bit of hindsight as 2020, but a lot of it's like pretty raw of like, yes, I in this moment said this and I, felt that. Like, it's like, oh, okay. Like in the story I wrote today, I mentioned that he said he felt trapped before he got married. Like he told his second runner up, like asked him, and he like said he felt trapped before the Golden Wedding, that live wedding on ABC on January 4th. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, like, I don't know. I just didn't expect that from Gary.
Well, I mean, but also I don't expect that from pop culture in the year 2025. Are we bringing honesty back? Are we bringing radical honesty back to the mix? Because I was just reading Charlie Sheen's memoir, which I was like, this is way too honest. Like, Charlie, yeah. I wish I didn't know all of this. Like, even the documentary on Netflix was very eye-opening, but this was even more so, where I was like, oh God, I wish I didn't know this. Oh,
Celebrity memoirs are really crazy because they go one or two ways usually. Sometimes they are so boring and it's like, what are we doing here? Who gave you a book deal? And other times it's like, oh God, do I need to know that? Is this a diary entry and not a published piece? Like, I don't know. I obviously prefer the ones with all the tea. I always think back.
No, it is.
Simpson, my favorite, and Demi Moore. Those are my two top. So
I just got to the end of Charlie Sheen's and I was like, I feel yucky right now. I feel bad about myself. Like, Charlie, anyways, speaking of The Bachelor, we just had news like last month that Taylor Frankie Paul from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going to be our next Bachelorette. And this is like one of the greatest corporate synergy moves of all time, because Hulu, obviously a Disney company, obviously ABC. But it shocked me for so many reasons. As a longtime Bachelor fan, what were your thoughts as a fan, and then thoughts of like doing what you do?
I was so shocked. I was so excited. On both sense of both for work and for fun, I was shocked and excited. I think that The Bachelor is such an interesting franchise because people ask me all the time, like, are people still watching it? Yada, yada. And I'm like, I mean, the Us Weekly audience is still interested in it. There's a reason we still cover it. Like, we're not doing it for fun necessarily. Like, it's also, there's interest there. I think the Us Weekly audience, which especially, can have like a Midwest, middle of the country, older skew sometimes, like they're still watching The Bachelor. And even if then there was a couple seasons that were like really popular with Joey and whatever, like out of nowhere, all of a sudden it was the top show. Gary, like 13 million people watched Gary propose to Teresa, like something insane.
I started watching The Bachelor franchise again for the Golden Bachelor.
Right.
That brought me back into the fold a little bit.
So it's kind of similar though. Like that's what the show does. Like it's an IP that exists that Disney owns, that they make a lot of money off of. It can't be that expensive to make. Every network has a dating show. So they're going to like, if they got rid of The Bachelor, they just have to make up another one. And instead of doing that, they reinvent what The Bachelor is to some degree. So sometimes they swing and a miss. I feel like people did not like this new season of Paradise. But people did like the first at least 2 seasons of The Golden. And this is a risk, but it's going to work for at least this season. What do they do after that? I don't know. Like, I don't know if you can top yourself from Taylor Frankie Paul, but I do think that they will. I mean, a million people have been telling me I'm going to watch for the first time in X amount of years, or I'm going to watch for the first time. You see that with Dancing with the Stars and the way people are coming to it because of the talent that's on the show. And I think Taylor herself is the first person to say that I make bad decisions in relationships and I'm also bad at making decisions, period, which is, I talked to her right before the announcement came out about being the Bachelorette. And she literally was like having she's so self-aware in a beautiful way and in a way that most reality stars are not. And she's saying like, yeah, I'm pretty bad at making decisions. So like, that's going to be interesting for the show. Like she knows she's good.
She's like, I'm wild. Really not good in any sort of relationship. So I don't know how ABC's going to do it. This is going to be great.
And it's refreshing. I mean, I can't tell you how many Bachelor and Bachelorettes I've interviewed them all, and most of them are pretty confident in their decision making, which is also why they get in trouble. But this will be a different way, a different strategy of she's openly saying, I'm indecisive. Like that's a horrible characteristic in someone who's going to date 20 people, but also an amazing one.
I mean, I truly was blown away by this decision. I didn't really expect it for so many reasons. But to your point, like this IP, this intellectual property, our fan bases, whether you're a Bravo fan, a Bachelor Nation person, like they are really set and you're looking to get new eyeballs in because it's really hard to go into the Bachelor franchise because you're like, how do I catch up? Will I really understand it? Even though it's an easy premise, this actually reaches across like different, it taps into that Secret Lives of Mormon Wives audience, a younger audience, and an audience that is just showing up to see if it's a complete wreck. But no matter what, those are eyeballs. I just think it's a big swing, which is interesting, but it is so much room for mishap, which is kind of what you want on reality television. You did an interview, I think, with Jesse from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I think you guys were talking about Dakota, Taylor Frankie Paul's ex. Hey, folks, we are here to talk about our friends at Quince once again. If you can see me right now, I'm wearing a beautiful navy sports jacket that I did get from Quince, and don't worry, I am prepping for my BravoCon trip in November. I just purchased a beautiful leather jacket from Quince, but they don't just have clothes. Remember, they have bedding, bath, cookware, travel accessories, the whole nine. So, as the weather cools, we're all swapping pieces that actually get the job done, warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince, they deliver every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Now, Quince has all kinds of fall staples you'll actually want to wear on repeat, like your boy Ryan, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60, classic fit denim, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. Now, I've got my eye on this suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and just looks really casual, but put together. And you can go to their website and they'll show you all of these things and how they look. Now, how do they do this? They partner directly with ethical factories and top artisans. Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. So, layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/sobad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. So that is QUINCE.com/sobad. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sobad. What did she say about, because how is Dakota handling all this?
I mean, he was immediately making TikToks. That's the thing about these people is they think TikTok first and like logical action second, which is also incredible. Yeah. Right. He immediately was making TikToks like, can I be the Bachelor now? Like basically like parodying her, like, because she had made like a TikTok years ago and this summer, like, this is my Bachelorette audition. So he made his own version.
Slade Smiley walked so Dakota could run. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that it's another point of just like mess that I think is genius. And I think Jesse made a comment like, we actually like, we do love Dakota and like, we're rooting for him. Like they know him as a person, but they also like know that this is what Taylor and Dakota do. Like they exchange blows on the internet. And you even said before, you said something along the lines of like, this is going to create mess. And I think the biggest thing about that is also Taylor will acknowledge it and talk about it. And then it'll create even more conversation. Whereas again, a lot of times you have these reality stars and especially if you pluck a Bachelor or Bachelorette out of nowhere, or they were on 1 or 2 episodes, they don't know what they're getting into to the point where it's almost like you feel bad constantly asking them over and over again. Like, why did you do this? Why did you sleep with these people? Why did you say it? Like the difference between talking to a Bachelor for their premiere press and their like right before the finale airs is they are 2 different people. You joke about how the president their hair.
That's what I was just going to say. Barack Obama's hair just turned completely gray.
Right. Clayton Echard from his first interview to his last, he's a different guy. You know what I mean? Like, and Taylor, who knows, the process might break her, but to me, it's like, this is a woman who is going to, throughout the whole time, own her decisions and also be like, yeah, that was dumb, in a way that our leads of Bachelor Nation don't normally do. So again, you put them in a sticky situation because it's like, where do you go from there? But for the meantime, I think it's genius, and I think I'm excited.
I mean, do we have a projected release date for this yet?
I think they're about to start production. So that would probably put us, because usually they like to do Bachelor in January, and they're replacing the Bachelor season with this Bachelorette season. But it definitely won't be ready for like January 1st, which they've done before. But I could see like mid-January.
I can't wait for the casting of this to see who they bring in. And, because you got to, like, the Mormon religion is a part of this. Her having 3 kids is a part of this. There's so many things that I can't wait to see how they handle that I am already fully locked in on this, which is Also, you mentioned Dancing with the Stars. You got 2 Secret Lives of Mormon Castwives member on there right now. You got Jen and you got Whitney, and they're both doing amazing. Whitney, I think, could be a professional dancer at this point. Are you watching Dancing with the Stars?
Of course.
This is one of the first seasons where I've actually I paid attention to Ariana and supported her dances, but now I'm watching like the full episode, and I've told the audience, I'm weirdly enjoying it. I'm like, this is magical. This is really nice.
There's something about it. And I've watched...
The world might be falling apart, but my God, I love these outfits.
But wow. If, Meredith Blake from Parent Trap can cha-cha, we're going to be okay for at least 3 minutes.
She's killing it. A 55-year-old, they keep saying she's 55. If they didn't say that, I would think she was like 45.
You sound like Carrie Ann.
I know, Carrie Ann Inaba, you are old.
No, I'm obsessed with her, and I'm obsessed with Danielle Fishel, Topanga. I think this cast is such a fun mix of the nostalgia, who I'm rooting for, and of course the younger audience, your Alex Earls, your Mormon
How do you compete? Like, I still don't understand the voting as opposed to the judges' scores, because
I think it's 50-50 as far as the weight of the show goes, but I think that something about Dancing with the Stars is they've never been afraid to like be controversial in their voting or their casting. So people were like freaking out about Lauren from Fifth Harmony or about...
she was great. I couldn't believe she got kicked off.
But this happens all the time. Like, you look at the cast and you're immediately like, okay, like the older people, the maybe, comedians who don't have Instagram followers or XYZ, you think you can figure out who's going to get sent home. Us Weekly has a bracket this year. Like, we have like a fantasy league that we're running, and we get like numbers, so we see like what people think. But people underestimate.
Wait, are you allowed to reveal the numbers, or is that kept hidden?
We have an article. I don't have it in front of me, but it has like some of the analytics. It's pretty fascinating, honestly, to see what people are voting for. But like, people underestimate the pros being their own like celebrity. Like, people love Riley Arnold. So even if they keep forgetting the guy from Pentatonic's names, like, she's not going home until like at least, a couple more weeks. Because I say that now, she'll be eliminated. But like, she made it.
You mean the dance pros that they're paired up with?
Yes. Like, they are their own version of celebrity and fame. And I see it through the Us Weekly numbers of them being famous and like their TikTok presence. And like, it's a huge part of it. So like, you look at Emma Slater, like, she's really popular. And people are also like, Andy Richter, he's so like, he's fun, he's cute. Like, I see all my like Gen Z coworkers voting and posting on their Instagram story like, vote for Andy. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, no. And
well, listen, there's an innate goodness with Andy Richter where it's like, for me, I would be the Andy Richter where I'm like, oh, he's doing it for all of us guys out here that can't dance, and he seems like he really wants to be there. But to your point, the Ilaria vote last week, Ilaria has not taken it well. I don't know if you've kept up with this. She's done a lot of interviews. I don't know if Us Weekly interviewed her.
We had some tears as well.
Yeah,
we were part of the tear tour.
And it seems like it's gone on all week. But now you saying that, Gleb, who was a cast member of Love Thy Nader on Hulu, and there was a lot of, did he cheat or how much did he cheat? So was it potentially Ilaria being paired up with Gleb, or just that so many people disliked Ilaria?
I think both. I don't think Gleb is like he used to be back in the day. I think like, oh yes, people love Gleb. Remember when Gleb was with Lisa Vanderpump? That was like his first season when she faked it. That was Gleb. That was a very young Gleb. Gleb has since gotten divorced. He's since gotten in feuds with Chrishell. He's since been accused of having affairs. He had this crazy relationship with Brooks. Like, last year it worked a little bit because people were kind of addicted to him and Brooks. But I don't think he's one of the ones that people are like actively rooting for necessarily. I'm sure there's Gleb stans out there. So if you are one, I'm sorry. But I think when you look at him versus Mark Ballas, I think more people, obviously Whitney's really good, but like, people love Mark Ballas. Like, they're going to like help him stay in whether his partner was Whitney or not. Like, there's got to be that. Like, it's part of it.
Yeah, you're a pro. I'm coming in new to this. This is like a blind spot for me. So I'm just enjoying it for the glitz and glamour. And this week, you guys, they pair them up with like people in their lives. So if Ilaria had stayed, she was going to bring Alec Baldwin. She said on last episode, which now I'm kind of bummed that I don't get to see Alec Baldwin shake his stuff. But it'll be interesting. Who do you predict in your, like, away from Us Weekly, who do you want to win?
Ooh, well, I want Topanga or Meredith Blake to win. I feel like Alex Earl's going to win.
Yeah.
But I also like Robert Irwin. I like Whitney and Jen. I think they're great. I think Whitney's really good. I think Whitney and Mark are a fun partner, but like, I feel like she might be a little insufferable if she wins. I don't know if Mom Talk could survive that.
I totally agree. I could, but by the way, I say I do not. She's not my favorite, but by God, she's good.
Yeah, she's good at dancing. And also, like, I want her on my TV screen. Like, I don't want her to go anywhere. And I think this is also genius. I'm really excited for both The Bachelorette and Dancing with the Stars. You know, these Hulu Disney cameras, like, these women are being followed 24/7 at this point now. And if they do it right, which it could become overkill, like, you know how, like, when the Kardashians, like, are a year behind and you're like, God, why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
There's a chance of that, but I feel as though the synergy will be there and they'll be smart enough about it. The season of Mormon Wives comes back in November. I would bet it.
Yeah, but I just got an email. I think the episodes are in my email for the third season. So
I bet
I'm like,
it ends with some Dancing with the Stars or some Bachelorette. Like, I bet they start introducing those storylines there. I feel like they won't wait till season 4. That's what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for that as well. You mentioned Alex Earl. How can you compete with Alex Earl's online popularity in terms of votes? I mean,
you can't.
Millions and millions. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, how can anybody so I would say, yeah, she would be odds-on favorite to win, depending on how much the votes. I love that I'm treating this like an election, but I'm like, it really is very interesting. You mentioned corporate synergy, and another great corporate synergy moment happened on ABC today because on Good Morning America, Taylor Swift, I don't know, Sarah, if you realize she had an album that came out last week. It's called The Life of a Showgirl. Yeah, it's on Spotify if you need to listen to it. And she made this announcement. Everybody was like, oh my God, is she going to be pregnant? Is she announcing her retirement? Is there a whole new album? What she announced, you guys, was the long-rumored Taylor Swift's Eras Tour documentary, but they're making a docuseries. The first 2 episodes comes out on December 12th, 6 episodes in all, but they're also releasing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, the final show, shot at the tour finale in Vancouver, BC, and it includes all the Tortured Poets Department section of that concert. Sarah, are you able, do you even want to weigh in on the great Taylor Swift discourse of 2025? Are you scared? Are you allowed to say what you think?
I'm not scared.
First up, what did you think of this announcement today?
I think we've been waiting for it. I think it makes sense. I kind of feel like she should have done this before the album came out. And sometimes with Taylor Swift, who I do love, but I don't always understand, like, the lead single choice or these choices. I think, who am I to say? She's the richest, most powerful woman ever. Clearly it works. My gut would have said, riding on the high of the Eras Tour, when everyone was so Team Taylor, drop it then. Like, keep it going. Like, I feel like now, and I went to Eras, I loved it. I'll watch this, obviously, but I would have been more excited about it a year ago. Like, I don't know if I, like, now, or even like seeing like the footage of like Travis like getting ready to do his performance. Like, that was so fun when it happened. Like, do I need more BTS details of Travis learning The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived or whatever choreography? Like, no. Like, or I can do it with Broken Heart, whichever song it was. I'm sorry.
But no, I mean, listen, I love any kind of documentary, and especially with like a concert documentary. Like, I even loved like Alex Cooper's documentary on Hulu. Like,
I loved that too.
I love that kind of stuff. So, and then you throw Taylor into the mix. I can't wait. But I feel like we're at this exhaustion level with Taylor that obviously, like you just said, when that Eras Travis moment happened, everybody was so ecstatic. And now I notice there is, I think a good 75-25 split, maybe even 70-30.
Oversaturation of it all.
Of like, oh, come on, girl. Like, even me with the like 31 different variants. And it's not the first time she's released variants, but you're like, well, how much? I mean, like, at this point, you're like the Empire. You are just crushing. And I don't know. Like, it's weird. And like, overall, I'm like, I love her to death. I just do wonder, like you, like her and her team, what are those conversations that they're having right now?
And I will say, this is not her first Disney Plus documentary. It's not her first documentary. They're all have always been good. They're always well done. She usually has moments of vulnerability and relatability that you don't expect that do humanize her. So maybe that will be a takeaway. But just seeing the footage we did see, a huge part of it was like, oh, like to quote her, we've seen this film before. Like, I don't know if I need all of this BTS now. Like, you got it. Even the press tour for Showgirl, like, it was a lot of the same stories. Like, and that's a traditional, Tonight Show, whatever rollout. We don't usually get those from her. I was like, oh my God, okay, like, how many times are we going to hear like the Wood comment or the whatever? And it's I get it. Like, that's what these press like kind of junkets are. But from her, you don't usually get that. So I just feel like it's even that. I'm like, oh, interesting choice to kind of do a more traditional press rollout that she hasn't done. And I'm not saying she should hide away. She should do whatever she wants. It's just different because we were kind of used to her dropping the music and letting the music speak for itself. So this is like old school Taylor to be giving us the BTS so much. Yeah. And I think it's great because she's clearly happy. And I think that's the most important part. But to have done New Heights was one thing, but to now be on New Heights, to now be on the Tonight Show recapping the appearance on New Heights, I'm like, okay, like, do we need that?
It's Inception. Like it eats itself at a certain point. But maybe the docuseries, like maybe we'll be surprised and it's more like Being Bobby Brown with Bobby and Whitney. And we find out they have a completely toxic relationship and then we just had no clue. But I know it'll be beautiful. So December 12th, I believe that will air. So just in time for the holiday season. Moving on to BravoCon. Are you going to be there this year? BravoCon 2025.
I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there?
So, oh hell yeah! Are you kidding me? What are you? We gotta hang. You know what? I think you're probably packed, but I think we're going to do a mixer on. But I'll give you the information if you can pop by. It would be great. Have Us Weekly cover it. It's going to be a real swing. It's going to be a cool
Something tells me there could be news breaking at BravoCon's one of those places that honestly, the things you least expect, like all of a sudden you look up and you're like at the craps table and there's, Shep.
Remember, Shep had the whole, like that had a whole
I remember.
For a year. Wait, did you have, because I was there at the Bravos when I could tell, like that was a Friday night and Shep already seemed like on like another planet. And then it just got worse through the weekend. Did you have any experiences with Shep that weekend?
I remember that press line he did, like they all do the press. And it's very interesting because for the most part, whether you're Andy Cohen or whether you're, the fifth person on Southern Hospitality, you stop for everyone. And they're pretty much like pretty good about it. Like people who run this are like hats off. But I remember he didn't do the full press line. And I do remember like the quick interactions I did have with Shep. I was like, oh, like, he's tired. And I remember he's tired.
And I remember Austin questions about his show.
Austin and Craig being like, Shep just left. We've been here for an hour. Like being like, it was all happening in that press room for sure.
What are the stories in your mind already, looking to a month from now that you think, okay, this is a potential for a story. This is what we're looking out for as a staff.
Well, I think it's always looking at, Bravo does a really good job, obviously, of programming certain shows to air or come back. That Southern Charm trailer is a good example of they all have started airing episodes. And that means putting these people in the same room where they're seeing what they said about each other in a confessional is genius. So Southern Charm, I'm very excited about to see. And I feel like Austin and Craig's relationship is always ebbing and flowing. And I think that they're a group of people that you can create story from BravoCon weekend. Kind of, I remember 2 years ago when it was like, what was it? Sheena like was hanging out with Tom Sandoval and then like asking like
Captain Jason.
Yes. And I remember asking Katie and Ariana that in real time and being like, wait, what? Like they're like, it's pretty crazy when you get these groups of people together and they are, creating story for their own shows. Yeah. I think the new Vanderpump Rules will be a big topic at BravoCon. I think that they're going to push that heavy because they're doing
by the way, I think they pushed the release date because it was supposed to be October 28th and now the premiere is going to be at BravoCon. So they must have pushed it.
That's on the schedule, right? The watch.
It was like the world premiere, like a watch party for the new Vanderpump Rules.
And I think that's interesting. I think, who knows? I don't know much about that cast of characters yet. I look forward to figuring it out, but I think that could be a big one that comes out. And I also think, I don't know. I think we're at influx with a couple different housewives right now. Salt Lake City's is airing and is probably going to be in the middle of like big episodes when it comes out because it'll probably be like a trip or something based on the season. I think Orange County, that reunion, like I feel like people don't know what's happening. I think there's a lot.
Orange County, though, they're not having a panel.
But they'll all be there, right?
They'll all be there, but it kind of makes sense they're not doing a panel because they shot the reunion this past Friday, you guys, but they're not going to be airing it until after the reunion. So they don't want to do a reunion on stage when the reunion hasn't aired yet, but they filmed it. Or that's my guess at least, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think the last time that happened though, it was they just canceled that Salt Lake City panel and it was because Reality Von Teese was happening and we didn't know. Like looking back, I remember watching every single Salt Lake City housewife do the carpet together besides Monica. She walked by herself, the rest of them walked together. They didn't do any panels besides like they did like fashion ones or whatever, but they didn't do a Salt Lake City panel. And I remember being like, this is so weird. And then you come to find out it was like Bravo, a secret kept for like the first time in a long time that was what they were sitting on. So I feel like for Orange County, it is that reason. But I also think maybe they're going to try to figure out what to do with that cast and don't want to like play their cards too close.
I think they painted themselves into a corner because it's season 20, so they can't reinvent the wheel. So they have to like do a tip of the hat to the past. I don't know. Are you still watching OC?
Yes, I am.
I'm completely frustrated as a viewer and a fan at this point because, you dump the Katie storyline, you're trying to work her back in, but I'm confused. And I think Tamra keeps quitting the show every episode, even though she's doing a press tour. She obviously wants to be on this show desperately, but then you can't quit at just the moments, every episode you can't quit. It's very frustrating.
It is frustrating and it's confusing. I think that it's two different shows. The Katie stuff was one season. This is now a second season, and it's not really working for me necessarily. They are the kind of group that I really enjoy watching Heather Dubrow at her house. I really enjoy watching I like Emily and Gina. I think they're funny. I think Shannon Bedore is someone who I'm happy is on my TV screen.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
So it's probably one of the only Housewives franchises that I'm actually enjoying individual storylines more than the group ones. I don't usually feel that way. So I like them all, but there's something missing. I think Slade, I think it was a mistake, to be quite honest.
Then there was a rumor that Slade doesn't even show. He was invited, but didn't even show up to the reunion. That was a rumor Bravo and Cocktails put out. So I hope that's not true, because if you're going to go all this way, go the reunion too.
Yeah.
Don't puss out at the last minute.
It just feels dirty though. I don't know, the whole Tamra, whatever. I don't know.
Naked, wasted. It's all just, it's too steeped in its own history and lore right now.
It can't get out of its own way.
Yeah, exactly. It's come on, you're telling me there's not new amazing women that we can integrate in a real way? And I think the same thing happened with Jersey, and it took forever. I mean, who knows? I think they're going to make a Jersey announcement at BravoCon.
Do you? I think they're going to make a Roni one.
Yeah, I think Roni's already settled. They're keeping Cy, Aaron, and Jessel, and then they're adding, from what my understanding is, but that could be wrong. But I think you'll get a lot of announcements at BravoCon. What are the odds, in your opinion, that Dr. Wendy Asefo shows up?
Oh my God.
And by the way, I know you're not the Bravo beat, but how did that affect your work on Friday?
Oh my God, that was crazy. I mean, I say I'm not the Bravo beat. I'm in every beat. I help run the website. I'm everything. But
yeah,
I think that, oh my God, that was crazy. It's been a minute. I mean, the Housewives never fail, right? Just when you think one thing's set, all of a sudden, new fraud charges. And it's these, not all fraud charges are created equally. This story's nuts.
It's really, the more I read, you guys, you got to get into the paperwork, because it just gets more insane and more insane, because it must be the first time they've scammed people, because they did it so poorly. And they got the payout for the travel's insurance, but then they were using two other separate insurance companies for the other, and they were doing claims for both. It's just mind-boggling. And him sending emails to her saying, we got to get more money on this to get our max cap of $450,000. That's wild.
I don't think she's going to be there. I think that Bravo, the one thing that they do is they kind of put alleged criminals in a couple categories, as they should. When someone harms someone else is when it's the Jen Shah, we don't want to be associated with you, which makes sense. Jen Shah, took money from elderly people. Andy Cohen has been very vocal about being upset with that. When they are, not paying their taxes or things strictly with, their own money, it's not great, but a lot of times they do give them the redemption arc, or they let us follow the fallout of it.
That's real life.
That's real life, yes. Wendy's kind of in the middle here, because it's insurance fraud. It's not it's, necessarily whatever. I don't know. I don't think she'll be there. I think also she'll have lawyers who tell her not to be doing things, but I also, who knows? I mean, you never know.
I remember Karen was you guys hosted this amazing party last year for the reality issue, and Karen Huger was there. And I remember on that line, you couldn't ask Karen anything, obviously, about her DUI, which I wouldn't have done that anyways, but it was that, made it known that, don't get her, talking about that at all, which I think most people respect. I just think that Wendy needs the money right now. She needs that BravoCon money. And I was very bummed that Wife Swap was supposed to air tomorrow or Tuesday night after Salt Lake City, and they pushed it a week, and they might have pulled Dr. Wendy's episode entirely, but I'm not sure about that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I don't know if they made the decision yet. I know that they definitely pushed the premiere, and she will not be the premiere anymore. But I don't know if they're not going to air it at all, which is that's crazy. I feel
wouldn't you air it? Because it would be automatic eyeballs on this. Automatic.
Yeah. But that's where I mean, it's will she be there? I don't know if it'll be her choice. I think it's a tricky thing for Bravo, NBC, to make the decision of, do we want to be platforming X person at X time? Do you wait for the dust to settle? Do you wait to find out what kind of plea they're entering. Like, how are they owning things right away? Are they immediately, saying that they didn't do this? Or is there another side of the story we don't know yet? Like, there's so many elements. So it's not that Wendy doesn't want to go to get her money and face the music. It's, will Bravo want to platform her right now?
Well, remember 2 BravoCons ago, the one in New York, Jen Shah was disinvited. And I always remember there was like a Friday night party at the top of the Gansevoort, and Jen Shah just showed up. And I remember Jen Shah and Shibai Sheree Whitfield were popping and locking on the dance floor. And I remember Emily D. Baker, the amazing YouTuber, grabbed me and was like, "You got to see this," and pulled me over. And I thought this was like the weirdest dream I ever had. Like, all of a sudden, Jen Shah's like breakdancing and everybody's like, "Woo!" And I was like, this is insane. If people only knew that this was happening.
But wasn't there also that same one? I can't remember what Ramona did or said, but I feel like she was also like an uninvited, because I remember
that was at the Vegas one. That was at the one. The last BravoCon was the week before. Ramona said some kind of shitty things in the press to maybe it was a Page 6 reporter. I'm trying to remember, but there was like racial undertones to it.
Yeah,
and then it was really sad because Avery still showed up, and a lot of people were just like, "Yeah, Avery." It's like, imagine showing up to that thing the week after your mom, kind of stuck her foot in her mouth, and
they were promoting that season of Roni Legacy Girls Trip, and they did that, but Ramona wasn't there. So I only bring that up to say that they do, I think, pull people out when
you're right.
It's going to overshadow it. But who knows? I mean, it's every year is different. Some version of "you'll never be on TV again" is now you'll get 6 more seasons because you did XYZ. So
that's what I'm thinking about it, like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, if you put Wife Swap out, I'm watching Potomac regardless. But last night I was watching Potomac, and I'm just staring for every Wendy scene. I'm looking at her hands. I'm like, what jewelry you wearing? Like, it gives the audience this added like incentive to watch the show, because like Scandival, you can follow along on a potential crime that they don't realize we know about yet.
Yeah, 100%. I think there are going to be more people watching Potomac than there was.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Well, hey, I get eyes however you want to get them these days. Okay, Real Housewives of Miami. Are you watching that?
Yes, I think I'm caught. It was just 2 parts of the reunion out so far, right?
You think you're caught up? The half hour heard around the world.
No, I know about the Haitian Mortician. I'm caught up. I just want to make sure there wasn't a part 3 yet, because I just watched part 1 and 2 actually I saw the big when it came out of part 1. I had not watched that live, so then I made sure to watch 2 live. But my weeks get convoluted.
I know. I totally get it. Part 3 is out this Thursday after OC. But I just thought it was, I hate when I'm like, your personal tragedy was fantastic. Like, I thought it was, the first half hour of the second part of the reunion was so enjoyable for so many reasons. And then I almost felt sad that they had to downshift and go back to these other ladies' storylines. Because I was like, I would watch a whole hour of just like Adriana reading Julia for film.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that what they do really well in Miami, and they always have done, is their reactions to each other is just unmatched. Yeah, like, they are high drama, those women, and they also don't think before they speak. They just say something, and then half the time they're like, like this. Like, it's so good. So no matter what the thing is, it's usually worth watching. And this is just like elevated of like, what do you mean that like Julia's out here is having affairs, and she's not even like denying them? Like, there's a lot to dive in with I don't know any of them.
That was the thing where you watch it and you're satisfied, but then afterwards you're like, whoa, they didn't answer 30 questions that I'm curious about. Like, and that's really exciting, because you're like, oh, I'm fully locked in because I'm thinking about it a day later.
And like, I just, Martina is also an interesting character in her own way. And she's
Have you ever interviewed her?
No, I have not. Have you?
I'd be scared. Like, no, I'd be scared. Like, I don't know. She scares me.
I've talked to Julia a bunch. I talked to Julia and Alexia and Marisol right before at that Page 6 show.
What's her vibe in real life, Julia?
Julia's pretty similar. Looking back, I feel like she was kind of like nervous and like over explaining. And at the time, I obviously didn't know what was to come. And there was that like big bombshell teased, and I didn't know what it was. And I asked her about it. And I do think if I went back and watched that video, I'd probably be like, oh, like, she's choosing her words really carefully. But whereas like, she's thoughtful with her answers, though. Like, she's all the Miami women are very like kind with their time. Like they want to talk about it and they want to hype it up and they're proud of their program. And I find Alexia one of my favorite housewives to interview because she like, again, will just like have these crazy reactions and be processing it in real time, like what she's saying. And also you can really say anything to them and they'll just like react. Like it's pretty exciting. The same way Andy says anything to them and they react.
It's very Teresa Giudice with Alexia for me.
Yes, I agree.
Which is exciting. My favorite show on air right now is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Are you enjoying it as much as I am, or are you tempering your expectations?
Oh, no, I'm enjoying it. I think they're another group of people that like when the cast is right, I really will watch them do anything. The premiere, I was a little like, what do you mean Lisa Barlow's not in it? That's not going to work for me. But I think that it's been made up for with the scene of all the court documents blown up. And again, it's a group where they cut to the reaction shots and Mary and Heather and it's just delivers. And I also think a lot of individual storylines, but then those moments of, you know, you see Lisa and Brahman like making up and like you just know like, oh, like, wow, this is going to last 3 minutes. Like it's just one of those shows that they're built different. In Salt Lake City,
they have wildly real scenes like Bronwyn with her mom Muzzy or Mary Cosby with her son. Like all of a sudden it goes from crazy to like uncomfortably real. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that vacillating between those two worlds is really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I think it's different too because they will say crazy things to each other and spew like the wildest insults at each other. But then again, all of a sudden we're in a very dramatic scene, like you just mentioned, or a very real scene about like, you know, someone's struggling with substance abuse. And then like 3 minutes ago, we were talking about gout dick. Like it really is a show that is kind of in a league of its own for that reason. And I think it's a testament to the women, whether you love them or hate them, they show up and they're not hiding anything. And if they are, they get called out immediately, which is, I think, why Whitney's just walking around screaming that her business has failed because she knows if she doesn't say it, somebody else is going to say it. So
but by the way, but I feel like what a perfect pivot for Whitney to be that honest.
Yeah,
like, it's
I
agree. Golden Bachelor Gary's book. It's like refreshingly honest for somebody to admit that they failed at something, you know?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that they're in a league of their own of digging up things about each other and dropping little bombs, but they're also the first cast to still show up and film together. So because that's the groundwork, it's going to be a good season no matter what. Is every season going to be, this is the best season of TV ever? Probably not. But like they've topped each other so many times that like, I'm good with just an insult here, an emotional beat here. Like I feel good about it. I'm not at all worried about what they're doing in Salt Lake City.
That's also how I feel about Shannon Bedore, though. I'm like, Shannon Bedore gave us so much last season that I'm okay if she coasts for a season. I'm okay. Like Leslie Bedore, David's new wife, she did sometimes wife. They met nude in the woods and she was like holding an orange and go like, I'm ready for my close up. And I was like, God, wouldn't that be funny if OC does cast Leslie Bedore? And it's like every season they like the producers and Alex Baskin tries to destroy Shannon Bedore.
Thought Alexis was diabolical. Meet Leslie.
Yeah. Or they're going to find Shannon Bedore's high school boyfriend and bring him on the show, just like new ways to upset Shannon.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, God bless her. She's really shown up, hasn't she?
Really, truly. As we start, we're in our last section here. Bravo this was fascinating to me. A news story that I don't know if you heard about. Bravo's getting into the shoe business, Sarah. They have partnered up with Reebok and they are releasing Real Housewives shoes on October 28th, just in time for BravoCon. They're going to retail for $100. This is not a joke. And no, this is, by the way, this shoe is sponsored by Reebok. But they have Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of New York City, Potomac, Salt Lake City, and a BravoCon sneaker. They've left out Miami and Orange County, but they have like a little saying on the tongue on like the back, like, who gonna check me, boo, for Atlanta? Potomac, it says, who's gonna bail me out? No, I'm joking. Potomac says something else, but like, it's like, would you wear Bravo Reeboks, Sarah?
If they were gifted to me, sure.
Okay, that's not a no. Okay, great. I was also looking at your social media, which I'm going to put that all on the show notes, you guys. So go follow her on TikTok and Instagram. You were I did this story about the Dawson's Creek revival.
Oh my God,
what was that again? Because it was so beautiful.
It was the best. It was a one-night only reading of the Dawson's Creek pilot with the original cast, with Lin-Manuel Miranda playing Dawson because James Van Der Beek couldn't come. And I had no idea what to expect. Obviously, that's how they promoted it. It was raising money for F Cancer and James Van Der Beek's family. And they weren't doing like a press thing. Like we bought a ticket, like I was able to like go for work, but like we were in the queue. Like it was crazy. Like it wasn't like a show thing. And Michelle Williams did the whole thing with Busy Phillips. They organized the whole thing with her husband, Thomas Kail, who directs Hamilton. So it was at the Hamilton Theater, hence Lin-Manuel Miranda playing Dawson. But when you show up there and it was just this crazy line of people, which I was like, wait, what is that? Like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, why can't we all just come in, whatever? So I was like, not sure what to expect. It was a lot of people there, like by themselves, like all these Dawson's Creek fans. Like it was like listening to people's conversations and the lines. Yeah. I was like, oh, like this is like crazy that I'm here. And it was just one of those things that like from start to finish, you're just smiling. These are good actors. Like you freaking Michelle Williams, Joshua Jackson, Katie Holmes, like they're not, whatever. And they really committed. They did a great job. And then at the end, they just did a few like video messages and they came out and they sang, I Don't Want to Wait. And everyone around you is like crying. And you're also like I just was smiling like a loser looking at Pacey Witter in the corner of my eye the entire time.
How was Lin-Manuel Miranda filling in for? Because I don't think Dawson, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah. Like you don't think of that. Obviously, the dude is so uber talented. How did was he good stepping in?
He was good. It was definitely a little jarring at first, obviously, but I feel like you're so focused on like Michelle Williams being Jen Lindley again that it didn't really matter who Dawson was. Kind of like the same way when you watch Dawson's Creek, love you, James Van Der Beek, but you're kind of like Katie Holmes show. So like because Katie Holmes was Joey Potter and was so great, like it almost didn't matter. And in the Dawson's Creek pilot, like obviously it's a lot of Dawson, but there are little nuggets planted of those other characters that are such like big moments. And it's a lot more of like Dawson's obviously the center, but it's so much more about the group that it didn't feel that weird. And obviously he's a good actor and they're good actors. God, it was just good acting, like, and also funny and like very like Joshua Jackson, very much like playing to the crowd. Like, like they knew what they were doing. Like Busy Phillips, like it was just like good. Like, and it was also like obviously nostalgic, but it was also like good.
Yeah, no, I mean, these people know what they're doing. They've had lifetime careers now, and it's one of those reminders with pop culture that, oh my God, we're getting older. Like decades have passed, and they just filmed that Laguna Beach reunion that's going to air on Roku next year.
I love Laguna Beach, but how many reunions are we going to have? Like, I feel like they're acting like these people have never seen each other. I feel like there's every other week there's a Laguna Beach reunion.
Sarah, let us have this. We need to be excited about something. Like
I'm going to watch it. But like,
it's just one of those things that you're like, oh my God, 20 years has passed? Or with Dawson's Creek, you're like, I've seen all of these people grow up, but seeing them together is just so mind blowing because you remember where you were. Now, James Van Der Beek did a video message. Obviously, it was very, he's battling an illness. What was the feeling in the room when that video message played?
Oh man. I mean, when it first popped up, it was definitely like some gas
jarring,
because he looked, he looked like he had been sick. But he was so, well-spoken and his messaging was very emotional. And he came up and did a second video later on, introducing a song that was performed from the Phantom of the Opera, which I guess like was an inspiration for him playing Dawson. And which I didn't know. And I guess he was supposed to sing the song. But instead,
he was a theater geek. Like he wanted to be in theater and not a movie and TV actor. Yeah.
And so that part was, I think that messaging, that was like a longer video and like kind of like gave a little bit more into like my process as Dawson. And I feel like that was very well received. And I think that his kids and his wife being there, like it was, I think part of me was like, oh my God, like, is James Van Der Beek okay? Like it was almost giving like you're watching like someone's memorial or something. But then at the same time, I think out of precaution of if you've been, going through cancer treatments and then you get some sort of stomach virus, like you're going to, they're going to catch you on a tough day. So I think that's why. But it was definitely like one of those like clutch your pearls, like millennials grabbing each other everywhere, like Dawson.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was so cool you could go.
That was one of the cooler things. I get to do a lot of cool stuff, but that was up there for me where I was like, I should not complain. Like, I'm so happy to be here.
And that thing sold out immediately. I remember doing the news story. I was like, this is going to go quick. You just interviewed Love is Blind cast member, the Denver, Colorado season. Who did you interview? Joe?
Joe, with a new mustache.
Ooh. Joe, I am watching this season of Love is Blind, and Joe got into it with, Joe on his talking head got into it with, what's his name?
Nick.
Nick, and he was like, I don't fuck with that guy. I don't, but he was drunk, you know, he was like, I gotta, but what was the vibe like interviewing him? Because this is filmed 2 years ago, Love is Blind.
Yeah. Love is Blind is always a really interesting show. I always like to because they do promo in the beginning, and I'm like, oh, like it doesn't really hit. Like you need to wait to like really see what happens. And I will say, and I can't speak too freely because it won't be out technically yet, but like I had seen through the entirety of the show when I spoke to Joe.
Well, you've seen, because I've seen the 2 episodes that get released this week, but I haven't seen the finale. You've seen the finale.
Well, I haven't seen the finale, but so I'll say I've seen the finale.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say because
you know, yeah.
I have seen more of the story than had been let out. So I was interested to talk to Joe. I feel like he has a lot to answer for, is what I'll tease. And I actually, you know, as I often do, I found him more likable than I was expecting. I think he, you know, knows that the comments that he made about his partner's body were not okay. I think he was, you know, had to put his tail between his legs there, and he did. If he was trying to.
I mean, she did an interview, I think, on Nick Viall saying it gave her an eating disorder.
Yeah, which is, you know, heartbreaking, and not the point of the show.
Yeah.
But they're always an interesting group because, like you said, it's years later. They're removed at that point. Whether they're together or not, like they're so far past that like 8 weeks of their life. But it's also like the craziest show to go on. Like there's a choice to be made to go on that show. So I find them to be interesting people to talk to say the least.
I want you to interview Casey and Patrick. Like, they didn't, obviously, at this point, if you watch it, you know they didn't make it. But like, to me, that was the most jaw-dropping part of this. I talked about it on Monday's show of like Casey going, I gotta go. I still love you, but I gotta go.
And then grabbing him and wrapping her legs around
jumping on him. I thought she was so into him. I was like, oh, and then they do a flashback to her telling the production that she's not into him. She's not going to be attracted to him. And that's it. And I was like, that is dark. Oh,
I know.
My God.
I feel like they usually do a reunion for this show. And you know, the Lachey.
I don't think they're going to
They always have their work up.
I don't think they're going to do a reunion because it feels like they gave out interviews way too quickly. So I felt like maybe that's going to make up for the reunion.
No, they usually do the interviews still because then like a lot of times they'll talk about things they said in their interviews. Now, like that show's kind of caught up on it. I don't know. I mean, their embargoes are pretty strict for what you can say and what you can't say based on like having people watch, but they haven't said. So I'm hopeful that they will, but maybe they won't. I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty talked about season for the first time in a minute.
Got it.
Denver's scary.
It really is scary. This is not got to be good for tourism in any sort of way. In fact, you know, like cities compete for the Olympics to be held there. I feel like cities should compete for Love is Blind to not happen there. Of like, I do not want Love is Blind here, please.
They need to do Love is Blind New York. No one would do it. Would be the problem.
Sarah, what they need to do a bunch of like Love is Blind bars where you order drinks and go into a pod, and then it's like weird blind dating things. Netflix, if you're listening. Finally,
so
what are you watching and listening to right now besides all the shows that we talked about?
Oh my God. Is there anything
is there
left?
Any other shows?
Do I have time for anything else?
I don't know. I mean, are you guilty pleasures or like, oh my God, I watched this?
Oh, well, I have not dug into the season of The Morning Show yet, but I cannot wait to. I am very much looking forward to that. I have been trying to read like actual
What are you
books.
reading right now?
Well, I am reading this book called The Summer Storms, which is a book that I've been trying to read for a while because I'm trying to read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which is that like the muddy pumpkin book that everyone's talking about that I'm really looking forward to diving into. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like I have been so reality focused lately because I feel like Bravo has like piled everything back on. Like it's been a minute since like they've had it all on again. And other than that, I mean, it's fall. So like Gilmore Girls when there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls is always a tried and true thing.
Seeing those photos of Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson over the summer before they even announced the reunion did start a Dawson's Creek rewatch. So that took up a big chunk of time that was only elevated or escalated when the reunion news came out. And then I did a bunch of interviews with the cast, some of the cast members like who played Dawson's parents and Jack. Like we did an Us Weekly cover story and I did interviews for that. So then I'm like, I feel like I'm very much like I'm either in Bravo or I'm in like the WB in 2002. Like it's like I'm all like my head is all over the place.
No, it's like a certain time period. Wait, what is the most nervous you've ever been interviewing somebody?
Oh my God. Oh, I don't know. I go through phases where like I don't get nervous at all. And then I'm like, check yourself. Like you should still get nervous. I really only get nervous when I'm not prepared. So I feel like the answers are like when I didn't watch the show, which I always watch the show, but like, did I watch it like close enough? But Probably like the most red I turned was when I talked to Derek Jeter.
Oh, that would be hard for me. I'm not a big sports guy. I just know he dated Mariah Carey.
He was like, growing up, I used to call him my boyfriend, like when I was like very little. And I literally told him like all my passwords were like Derek Jeter or like whatever. Like he was just like, okay. He was great. It was him and Hannah.
It's like, okay.
They were nice. But I was like, that was one where I was like, I can't believe like I'm looking at you and you're answering my questions. And there was one question I like flubbed a little bit and he was so nice about it. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe I just like whatever. So that was probably the most nervous I've been in a while. But in person, sometimes it surprises you. Like you're confident and then they're standing this close to you and you're like, oh my God, like whatever. Zoom, I feel like it's so easy to just ask the shitty question the other way.
I've mastered the Zoom. Yeah.
No, like even I did Sheena's first interview for her book. And I was the first person she talked to about like the book and like getting like the Brock chapter. And like, I love Sheena and I've interviewed her before. So I wasn't actually nervous, but like I was kind of nervous because I was like capturing a big moment in her press tour and knowing we were going to do that cover story and knowing like, I feel like looking back, I could have asked even better questions, but I was so like, it was a lot to process, like getting the Brock chapter like right before and then like kind of knowing that it was her first time. So she had things to say before I could even talk. Like it was like an inch. So that's just a different kind of interview. Like it's more pressure versus the person. The cover stories can be overwhelming to try to navigate, obviously. And books are fun because there's so much source material, but then it's like, what do you focus on? Do you lean too hard one way? And looking back, I think it was good, but I'm like, oh, like I would have gone harder here. I would have spent less time on that. But like you don't know that until you like watch it back or read it back.
You should write a Bachelor book right before Taylor Frankie Paul comes out, or for people that are just joining Bachelor for the first time. Like, this is what you need to know about the previous 80 billion seasons, so you're not lost, or like you're lost. Read this book. Okay, finally, you were typing to your work a couple times during this episode. What news broke during this last hour?
Right, I'm the worst.
No. By the way, I totally understand. No, I'm not. No, but I'm just saying what happened did anything of note happen during this hour?
Nothing crazy of note happened. I was approving a headline that I don't know if it'll be live by the time this goes out, but we were debating a word. I can tell you later. And we were also talking about pulling out. Actually, her statement to Gary is in the story, and we're going to pull out Teresa's statement as its own story because the Gary story is doing really well.
Oh,
and the statement's kind of buried in there, in which she says, in part, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Oh, God. Golden Bachelor tea, you guys.
Listen, you're never too old to be stirring the pot.
Listen, this is truly it's inspirational for me as an older person. Sarah Hearon, amazing work as always. Go support her. I can't wait to see you at BravoCon. And you guys, this Wednesday, the Reality Star of the Year issue goes on sale. Make sure you pick it up at your newsstand. I can't wait to see who's on the cover. And Sarah, I hope to talk to you very soon.
Anytime, as long as you don't mind a slack or two.
I know. I geek out about that. I'm like, ooh, big news is happening. Big news. Okay, bye.
It's always something.